So I think that we're seeing kind of an opportunity here for cloud communications service providers and telcos. They've been losing a lot of markets to over-the-top players over the years with messaging, with voice. And now I think there's some opportunities for them to get it back. Tell us about that.
Yes. So we just announced today a new kind of global calling offer with BroadSoft. Because after we acquired BroadSoft, the amazing thing is there's already, partnerships with 600 SPs globally, right? Okay. And now together, we own 57% of the entire global cloud calling market. 57%. Wow. That's crazy. 57. I know. Thank you. Thank you for getting really excited with me, Mitch. Thank you. Yes. It is very exciting. Yeah, well, or cake, whichever. But yes, we're excited because this opportunity is one where our SP partners are going to be massive participants, right? The biggest participants for this particular market. And I just think there's such opportunity. So if you look at, and this is a massively oversimplified example, right? But 100 million phones sold, 2 million converted from prem to cloud. Now, not all 98 million are going to convert, but a heck of a lot of them are, right? So the market opportunity there is enormous. And then the services that you can offer on top of that, right? And then you think about, okay, could you actually create a small business bundled offering? Because when you kind of buy broadband from your service provider, well, if you're a new business, don't you also need calling of some sort? Don't you probably also need some kind of conferencing technology and some kind of messaging technology for your new company? Probably. Okay, great. So we should offer it to you via the SP that you already are used to working with and the SP that you already want to work with, right?
Okay. So why?
It's a brand new opportunity.
And when you talk about small business, you're talking about like really like 10-person law office.
Just, the SPs have such a wide wingspan and such distribution, right? We'd like to work together on that kind of offering and figure out, there's been so much success on the Meraki side with our close SP partners. Why can't we do more of that together?
Why is this an opportunity for service providers rather than some startup somewhere or one of your channel partners or a cloud provider, a hypercloud?
You know, the thing that I figured out from having done a startup myself right before coming to Cisco, right after Google, between Google and Cisco, startup for 5 years, distribution is really, really, really hard. And guess what the SPs already have? Massive, massive distribution. That is hard to replicate. It takes years to replicate. We already have the products. We already have the packages. Our SP partners have the distribution. Yeah, that's a good match.
Okay. So shifting gears a bit, we talked earlier today about some of the new technologies you have with huddle spaces and various other teleconferencing things. And it always seems to me that there's kind of a lag in the vision versus the reality, and the reality being a world of conference calls and a lot of people still using fax machines. So how do we get from the reality to this vision of we'll just flip a switch? And
we have to make it easy. We have to make it so, so, so easy on the user. We have to take the stress out of it. If, even for a second, when you sit down in that room, you think to yourself, oh, that's going to be hard, or oh, is this going to work? We failed you. We have failed you. And that feeling of, ugh, has to go away, right? It cannot exist. Instead, it should be, oh yeah, of course it's gonna work for me, right? I'm in my messaging, I'm in Teams, I swipe up to say, yeah, I wanna share this content. Proximity detection just works, and there it is. That has to, all the detailed use cases around that have to be worked through. Every single edge case has to be covered for that to be magic. And that's hard work. And there's nothing to replace elbow grease for that. It is just kind of cutting your way through every single edge case and figuring out how you make that magic. I actually come from the consumer world. So I spent, almost a decade at Google. And before that, I was at eBay. And those were some of my most formative years, right? But they were informed by just a laser focus on user experience and on customer experience in this case, but end user experience. We serve 300 million people across the globe with this portfolio. We owe them better. We owe them simplicity, and we owe them a pleasurable experience at work. They should feel the deprivation of not having these applications if we make them good enough. If suddenly something doesn't work, you should feel it and you should viscerally want to have it back, right?
Yeah.
That's the level that we want to get to with the user experience. And
you want it to be taken for granted. You want it to be like...
I want it to be like air,
like,
right? If you don't have it...
Or like electricity.
Or like electricity.
You know. So let's switch gears again. Let's talk about those darn millennials. Interesting demographic now. I think we talk about them for granted, but they're actually like, you know, it's like the leading edge of them are entering middle management now.
Yes. And Gen Z is coming and making their way.
And the trailing edge of them are just entering the workplace now.
Yes.
So you can almost think of them as two demographic groups. Really,
they almost are two segmented.
So what are their needs as different from?
I actually think that in many ways RoomKit Mini and WebEx Share are answering exactly their needs, because
what are those things?
So you've noticed the move to open floor plans, right? And to just informal kind of gathering.
What is WebEx Mini and what is?
Oh, sorry, RoomKit Mini. Okay, so RoomKit Mini is about this big. Mm-hmm. It sits on top of a TV and turns it into a video conferencing unit, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so crisp. And the field kind of for the microphones for audio is 120 degrees. So you and I could be talking and it would be aimed at us, but anything going on behind it, no matter how loud, it just won't pick up. It'll cancel.
So even for open offices?
Even for open offices, it works beautifully. Because I think one of the struggles today for millennials is everybody wants to collaborate. Everybody wants to kind of create these informal groups and just, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's whiteboard it out. Let's do it. But at the same time, it's so hard to concentrate, right, inside of an open floor plan building if you're trying to code or actually doing maker work rather than kind of meeting-based work. And so being able to also put on a headset, which helps with all of that. And being able to actually control, okay, so if we're going to do these open space concepts, we're not going to hear the noise behind, right? And doing those informal kind of gatherings, all of that lends itself to an open space kind of floor plan, right? It all lends itself to the way people are now used to working. I look at my son, who's 11, and in the classroom, half their work is group work now. I remember when I was little, none of it was group work until, what, high school? Now they're starting in elementary school, making it kind of informal and group-based. And I think that trend is only going to amplify over time.